Peace, everybody. It's your brother, Mr. Holipsism, with you. And I got my brother, Dun Dotta of the BAIO. What's up, bro?
What's up, man?
Yeah. So I know a lot of y'all. I see brother Danubian and Victor Dixon in the chat room. I know you guys need a break from that bullshit that you were hearing on the other show. And no disrespect to O'Shea, because that's my dude. I like him. He's a cool brother. But I'm more so talking about the guests that he had on, who were just my brain cells. I'm surprised I can even do this show, because I got to replenish the brain cells that I lost listening to this dude. I don't think you heard that show, Dun Dotta, and that's probably why you're able to do this show tonight. Because had you done it, you would have been just emotionally and mentally zapped. But one thing I want to peace, Bell. One thing I want to do is I want to set the table for what we're going to do here tonight, and I want to thank Bell Thanos is in the chat room, so I know I really don't have to reiterate this because she's already got a reputation. If you are a Captain America Negro, a militant integrationist, Black Power American, Facebook and YouTube pretendian, indigenous Instagram, or any of those, like Native American tweeters, all of that shit, this is not the forum for you. If you don't believe that we're African, this is not the forum for you. If you don't want to go to Africa, this is not the forum for you. So let's just end that. Let's just kill that straw man once and for all. No Black nationalists and no African Senate progressives are attempting to convert bootlicking Negroes into Pan-Africanists. I am so tired of hearing that straw man that it drives me completely crazy. We're not interested in you. Okay? We're not interested in you. So if you want to go to your TP and smoke your peace pipe and chill out with your Native American brethren and sisterin and try to figure out how you can get your country back from the white man, go right ahead and do it. If you want to stay in this country and be treated like a second and third class citizen with no way out, no second option, knock yourself out. This conversation is not for you. So if you come up in this fucking chat room starting some shit, you're going to get snapped out of existence. So watch what you fucking say and what you type. Because we got a zero tolerance policy in these forums. You come in here with some bootlicking Negro shit and you get knocked the fuck out. So that's the table being set. Just want to get that out of the way. So what's up, Dun Dotta? The floor is yours.
You just start off with asking me a question or whatever about about what the people want to know, because you hear most of the questions all the time. So like, what is they actually want to know? I recently sent you posted a picture of kind of like a typical project, but the project itself is just the structure itself. But then when you talk about land acquisition and getting the land and stuff, it's a whole different process. But go ahead.
Right, and that's basically what I wanted to get into, is the process of land acquisition. I guess, like you said, it's a different thing once you have the actual land that you're going to be going to.
Right.
I would imagine that that's well, I wouldn't say completely different process, but a different process, right?
Right. Yeah, there's a different process in that. So with that is with land acquisitions, I don't know if anyone's familiar with like development of like these. Let's take for instance, like they going to build a Walmart or something like that. All of that comes into play as you having a team together that's going to actually put this into play. So that's your civil engineer, that's your designer, your planner, your surveyor, your mechanical engineer, so on and so forth. Those are the team that actually goes and try to make this happen. And there's also financial parts in that too, but but I don't want to get into that. But those are the people that you actually go talk to when you trying to get some land.
Mhm. So, what I
Go ahead.
wanted to do was what I guess this is a good question to start off with. What elements need to be in place before you can even start thinking about land acquisition?
As far as
And to
well,
keep in mind, I'm
one,
not talking about the when you actually have. Well, actually, let me ask you: do you want to approach it from the hypothetical of having the actual land, or do you want to just approach it from the hypothetical of before you actually purchase the land, or before you pick the land that you're going to actually use? Which works
um,
better for you?
well, we could do either way, but so the before is pretty much what we are doing right now. You have to have a plan. You have to get people together and talk about what are you going to do and how you want to get it built. So you have to have a plan before you even talking about gathering land. So,
Yeah, let's start
eh,
there. I think that's the best place to start.
okay. So
So
yeah.
what we're
So
doing now, well, you know, I always a friend of mine always says, "Tell it to me like I'm a 5-year-old." What are we doing now that you
right.
explain?
So right now, what we're doing, we're in stages of like getting all the like minds together, or getting the people that is actually working in that field. So like brother Jonathan, and I think it's Ollie Doss. I would like to get with them, but these are the people that goes out and their design. Um, they'll get the map of the area that you're trying to put infrastructure on,
Hmm.
and we have designed whatever it is that we're trying to build. And once we get that, and then we'll shoot that forward to to the people and see, hey, these are the designs that we came up with. How do y'all like this, and so on and so forth. So,
Hmm.
but the most important part is whatever design you do go, it will be most of the cost running water and water and the electricity. So all of that goes into play. So when we
Now,
come together and we have like, okay, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're settling on, this is the land we're going to get, how are we going to develop it? So go ahead.
now, in terms of the skill set needed for that, who would we be dealing with? Like what positions and titles would we be talking about? What professions?
Mostly all engineers, like civil engineers, that falls up under the umbrella of uh, the surveyor, the the designer, the
Hmm.
architect. Um, uh, Sometimes you want to include the construction manager.
Hmm.
So to see. Well, then you also want to have your finance analysis there. So we gotta order materials, see if it's feasible for us to like even get what we're trying to do from the beginning.
Right.
If it's all going to work out. So most of the part, it'll be your engineers. If you look at that, I don't know if you have that picture in front of you of what I posted.
Actually, that's what I'm trying to do now as I'm talking to you. I'm trying to get it because that screen share doesn't work with photos. Like if you have like a
Oh,
separate
okay.
photo program. So I'm trying to
Right.
bring it up in the Facebook page so that way I can at least let everybody see it. But go
Okay.
ahead.
Where were we?
You was getting ready to get into the chart.
Okay. All right. Hold on one second. I need to pull it up myself. um,
I have it right in front of me. I'm just trying to figure out how to show everybody it.
okay. Yeah, I got it in front of me. And pull this one up too.
I don't know how people will be able, like, if people are going to be able to see this clearly or not. Which one did you want to pull up, like the flow chart or the actual
Um,
breakdown, the categories of tasks?
well, we could talk about both because
Oh,
the
wait, I
flow
might be
chart.
able to do it. Hold on. I might be able to get it perfectly. Hold on 1 second. Ba-ba-ba. Let's hope and pray. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Let's see if we can do this. Bear with me, y'all. I'm struggling here technically. Let's get this screen share thing popping. Let's see. Ah, I think we might be onto something here.
I see it.
You see it?
Yeah, I see it. I don't know if
All
the
right. Hold
audience see it.
on. Let me see. Let me see if I can get it larger. How about that?
Yeah.
You can see
Can
it.
everybody else see it?
Is everybody? I can't. You know what the problem with blowing it up is that now I can't get to my other screen. Hold on. Let me get to my other screens first, and then. Oh, okay. So everybody can see it. Can y'all? All right. That's the full blown screen. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna. I won't be able to look at the chat room, but I just want to hear you talk while you address what I have on the screen. So I'm gonna blow it up, but I won't be able to see y'all in the chat room because the screen is on full screen. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it like that.
All right.
So the first thing I see is selection of design professionals.
Right.
What does that mean? Like I said, we're 5 years old.
Right. So selection of the design team is the architecture and the engineer. The engineer that actually that's going to build the to have the specification for each part of the infrastructure. So that goes for the foundation, that goes to the walls, that goes to the steps, that goes to the roof, that goes to the electrical system, all that they the one that designed it. That's the design team. And like Brother Jonathan is a urban designer,
Hmm.
urban designer, so he knows about this process too. So you got to have so everything falls on the engineer for the most part. Like I said in the last show, that if anything fails on the infrastructure, it all falls back on the engineer. So they are actually reliable for that. So
Okay,
that is the design team.
let's unpack that because right now we have engineers coming into the BAIO. So when you say engineer, are you mean a singular engineer, or are you talking about a team of engineers, or how is
Yeah,
that?
a team of engineers. So that's like I said, civil engineers. That falls up on the civil engineers. That could
Okay.
be someone mechanical engineer, or that can be structural engineer. That could be those are that it falls up on them because they actually work together to put the pieces together for us.
So then I guess the first step would be gathering engineers.
Right. Correct.
So for the people that's asking where to land at, are you an engineer?
Yeah.
I mean, this is something that I'm kind of like being sarcastic, but at the same time, I'm kind of serious as well. Like, are you involved in that process? Are you an engineer? Or do you know of engineers who might be interested in this, who are interested in developing land on the continent? I think that's an important question to ask yourself if you're inquiring about land acquisition. Now, the next thing I see, you got programming.
Right. So for programming, that is the select what everything that fall up on the design professional. So they the one to put the program together as far as the process of how it's going to go, the timetable, the site selection, feasibility, as you see on this chart,
Mhm.
uh, development of preliminary design. So like I said, they're going to put the designs together, and once we all come to like say, hey, this is what we're going to go through. We're going to go through design refinement, and then we're going to do the final approval of design concept. So once we go with that, that is going to be set in stone, and then they'll get together. They'll start working on creating that actual site, developing that site.
Let's backtrack a little to site selection and feasibility, because that's a big one.
Right.
I don't want to gloss over that. So let's get into that.
Right.
Site selection and feasibility. How would you break that down and explain it to the people?
Site selection is the site that we're going to use is going to best work in our interest. And is it feasible for us to even operate on that? So if we're looking at a site that is going to be on the coast of Africa or whatever, we have to think about, is it hilly? Is it going to be, is it a place there's floods a lot, you know, so on and so forth? Is it going to have any kind of like elemental issues that's going to like work against us? Then, you know, then you're thinking about setting up, once we start rolling, is it going to be a best spot for us to set up shop for transportation and goods, you know, hauling back and forth? Is it going to be easy accessible for that? You know, that right there is the crucial part of land selection. So without land selection, without the feasible land selection, you know, it's, yeah, we kind of like, you know, working backwards, working against ourselves.
I want to touch on something, because you made me think of something as you were talking. I see that there are a lot of people who come to the, like there was one person in particular, I won't mention their name, who came to us with a land, like a basically a map out of a nation, so to speak. A piece of territory, and what they had, the buildings that they had, and all this other stuff. And I just thought that's how do you do that without first knowing what particular piece of land you're going to be on? Like I don't think it's a one size fits all when it comes to even a smart city. Like, doesn't the actual environment and the surveying have to take place before you can decide, well, we're going to build this and build that? Am I wrong, or is that a part of the process?
No, that's part of the process. You're correct. So initially, like I said, it'll be an engineer. The engineer team will go out. They'll get their soil samples and see if it's feasible for, you know, what kind of what are we actually building on? Is it going to be worth building on that site, that land itself? So if it's not a site, so say like if it's a grainy site or a sandy site, you don't want to kind of build on that. You're going to have to put a lot of materials into it to keep the foundation strong. So, do you want to pay that much money to, you know, keep this site, or are you going to move over and build something else, or something that's feasible, something that's going to actually work for that site?
So site selection and feasibility seems like a very big deal to me, because it's
it
like
is.
you have to pick the site, like you said, that works best for you, and that's a process. Because don't you have to, like in the site selection and feasibility, wouldn't surveying be a part of that initially?
Yes, it is. So like the site selection. So like I said earlier, with Brother Jonathan, he knows about this. I know I keep referencing his name because I would like to. Me and him was supposed to talk about this too. So like what he does is like it's a group. It's like geospatial engineers. So they what it is GIS, Geographical Information System. So what they do is just a map of topographical map of the whole whatever site that you're looking at. It's all the data and stuff is in there. All you do is take that and you put in an overlay, and then you try to create your trying to build your city on it. So there's actually, the engineers will actually go out and propose a design on top of that that geographic information system that that he just gathered. So that's how it kind of works.
Okay.
So
I'm going to use you as my eyes. Like if there's anything on the chat room I need to address, just let me know. Like if anybody has a question or something, because I can't see it. I can only, this is taking up my whole screen. But yeah, that's very important. That site selection and feasibility is very important.
Right.
And I want people to understand that. That's why I didn't want to just gloss it over and we get into it, because you can't even plan on what technology and what things you're going to do if you don't know that. Like you can't, it's no one size fits all when it comes to things. You have to know what you're dealing with, and then you can kind of arrange how you want it designed based on those factors.
Right. And keep in mind that this is not like a one-shot deal. Like, okay, this is the land, this is what we're gonna go with. Hey, we might have to do this multiple times. So that's why it's good to
Right.
have your designs ready for multiple sites. So it's not like, okay, this is like, we're just gonna go with this, and then we find out later, oh, it's a sinkhole, it's ready to happen.
Right, exactly. So I guess that's where the revision, changes, additions, approval of concept design comes in, right?
Right. Belle Thanos, she asked, can you use the drone technology on this site? Yes, that's what everybody's going to right now.
Oh yeah.
As you've seen, as you posted in the on the Facebook and stuff about the drone and what they're capable of doing, it kind of takes out the middleman and the time it takes to gather information and to get the process rolling. So yes, drones is like the best kept secret.
And I feel like such a moron, Dun Dotta, because I never even thought of that. I was actually in North Carolina doing the exact same thing, and I didn't even think about it. Like I was surveying our land in North Carolina with a drone.
Right.
That's what I was doing, and I just never put two and two together. Like, oh shit, you can actually use this technology on the continent.
Right.
Never made the connection. So that's me.
Yeah. So we actually that's what the military uses too. So everybody think that these drones and stuff that they shooting out. I mean, they of course they got weapons capability, but for the most part they do surveying. They go out and they do reconnaissance. They take pictures of the area before and after. So this is why they know what's going on before they even go in sometimes.
Right.
So yeah, the drone. The drone is the best thing, and you can actually build a drone. So this is why most people are building their own drones and creating their own for their own uses and stuff. So like I told Bell, make sure that we find a computer programmer so he can come up and just have program and create something for us that we need for the future.
Well, we got a lot of those in the group. We got a lot of IT people and computer programmers in the group right now.
Yeah, everything else is pretty much just, everything else is pretty much swap out, you just swap out parts, but you need someone with the knowledge to know how to actually program it to do certain things. But yeah, the drone is very usable for site selection, and that's what most of them do.
You know what's interesting? It's like I'm looking at this breakdown. Approval of design concept, design refinement, final approval of design concept. It sort of reminds me of how screenwriting is.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the breakdown, it's like you have these first drafts, second drafts, and it's like you get it before you get to the actual final draft.
Right. And see, everybody don't, and this is why I kind of like broke it down so everybody understand how it goes. So the BAIO is the actual customer. We are the customers, and then once it become once we get the land and stuff, it turns into Afrikan. So the project is Afrikan. So we are the client. So and like I said, having your team with everybody on it kind of eliminates a lot of the outsourcing stuff too. So yeah, so we have a design professional inside our team too. Hey,
exactly.
The more the merrier. Because they make pretty good money.
Exactly. We have this is the whole purpose of the BAIO, is to get these professional networks and get these people that's in these professions together, because and this is kind of skipping a little bit ahead, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on this. How can you even talk about land or where to land at if you don't even have a plan? If you haven't gone through this process, how can you even address anybody about land?
Right. Exactly. And it goes to say, and it goes to show, like, even with this proposal here, like land acquisition, you still have to, when you're presenting this to whoever you're trying to acquire the land from, You can't just say, hey, I want this land. And then I'm like, what you want it for? I just want the land. You know? No. How's it going to be beneficial to you and to me? You know what I'm saying? How are you going to create jobs and stuff like that? Is it going to be something where we both benefit from it? So that's one of the biggest things. And that's what any business acquisition. Yeah, you know, hey, how am I going to benefit from it? So that's why when you go there, that's why, like Bell said, we are trying to create the we. So when we go there, whoever represents us, like, and whoever it is, you know, they have to be, you know, they got to have wear multiple hats. So they have to understand the process and know what they're dealing with. So if a question comes up about design, hey, you know, they can, you know, touch on design. Or if the land, they're talking about, okay, what about the water system? You know, they could touch on that. Or what about the future, about the, you know, transportation? You know, they could touch on stuff like that. So it's kind of one of those things, like, it's kind of like, you know, the jack of all trades. But you also still can have someone to help you. You know, I don't know too much about this, but hey, you know, this guy right here. But for the most part, whoever represents the BAIO, they're going to actually do all of this stuff here. So,
right. And this is what I get. You know, I think we're getting deeper into what I mean when I say we have to establish the we. We have to establish the us, and we have to establish the our, because when you don't have, like, we, us, and our in this scenario are engineers.
Right.
That's tangible. That's concrete. That's a professional who does a specific thing. It's not just black people.
All right.
We need land. All right. Well, all right. Who are you? You got any engineers? You got any land surveyors? Who is on this vague black people shit that you keep talking about?
Right.
And it drives me crazy. Like, I was listening to the show, and Richard, I don't know if Richard is still in the chat room, Richard and D Nubian. Man, it's like it just drives me crazy listening to these people talking about, well, we got to do this and we got to do that. The problem with us is, I'm like, nigga, there is no us.
Right. Yep.
This is why we're doing shows like this, because we're trying to establish something tangible and something concrete. We're trying to attract professionals.
Right.
And all of this falls under what you're saying, the design professionals.
Right.
Approval of design concept, design refinement, final approval of design concept, design development. Let's get into that.
Right. Okay. Let me come back here. Okay, so for the most part, design development is I don't know if you ever heard of a surveyor plat. What it is just it's a design sketched out on where everything is going to go, and it actually shows it shows you, you know, all of the road, where the roads are going to go, the measurements, and you know how far it's going to be, where we're going to place the park, or where we're going to put the arena, or where we're going to put the hospital at.
Right.
You know, all that, yeah. So all that goes into that, though. So like I said, a surveyor is one of your best friends, man. Surveyor and a architect in design. So like that civil engineer whole business, that's like the bread and butter of us actually starting out. You know, once we get all this, the top part, design professional done, and then we move into the contractor, to the contract. So like, here's the thing though. Now this is just a basic sequence of a project, but it might be a little bit different over there in Africa where we got. So we might can eliminate some of the stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I'm pretty sure there's regulatory laws and stuff that goes on that we have to abide by. But that's where the contracts and your lawyer comes in at.
Right.
To do all the legal document, you know, the document signing and stuff. So, yep.
Another aspect of how many lawyers do we have? How many people in the legal profession do we have within the BAIO? You know? This is all important because this is when we get into the nuts and bolts of what it is that we're actually trying to do in the process of nationhood.
Right.
Now, I want to get to I guess we covered design professionals as best as we can. I don't think there's much more we can go into with that, right? Like that
Yeah. Anything
process.
else would be like that's too much in depth, and everybody wouldn't.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
just we just want to give an overview. Like we don't
Right.
want to
Right.
get too in depth because what we can do, we can actually dedicate shows to each aspect of this. That's how intensive
Right.
this stuff is.
Right. And trust me, it goes like this is just like categories, and you got subcategories and
Right,
subcategories. So
right,
yeah.
exactly. So this is just an overview, y'all.
Right.
Next, we're getting into the BAIO and design professional.
Right. Yeah.
You got
So
contract selection as the
right.
first thing.
So like I said, whoever we decide to go with the actual project to actually start, whether it be internal or external, that's how it's set up. So that we are going to select this person to do this for us. So that's how it goes for the contract selection, and then of course the bidding. Like I said, certain some of these things probably can eliminate, but we know we're going to have to actually go outsource some of this stuff. So this is
Mhm.
where your contract selection and bidding comes in at. So those are the things that you want to use. So hold them kind of liable. Have legal documentation stating that hey, you are going to provide X, Y, and Z for us. You
Mhm.
know.
So this is where the bidding comes in
Right.
from other contractors, and like let's say there's a contractor who wants to be a part of building the transportation system.
Correct. Right.
They would put in a bid.
Right.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so
So
I'm assuming that there's a body or a panel that would review these bids.
yeah, that's what your legal team is for.
Right.
Whoever's BIO has for all of this, because they the one that's actually doing the writing up the documents and stuff, so like that.
Hmm.
So
I'm assuming that it would go through the engineers first and then through the legal second.
no, not really. It just
Oh, the engineers don't even have to be involved?
the engineers involved, but what the part of it is like depending on what specifically they are doing.
Hmm.
So if it's so like I don't know if you've seen that I posted this about the water system in there. So say like in the BAO website.
Uh-huh.
So if we having someone to actually lay down the water system through for the site, whoever the engineer is for that, that's they're just building, they're just actually creating the design for it, and the specs for it. Now, who we get to actually construct it is a whole different contract. So this is where the contract selection is all about. So a lot of people get confused with that. So
So award of contract notice to proceed is once you make your selection.
yeah. So and then again, so that's like a water contract is for the actual construction on certain parts of the. So most people go with like these big. Some people go with the big construction companies, and because they have everything within
Hmm.
side of their what you call it. But like I said, the BAIO, if we could create our own kind of like construction land of kind of like our own how you have like the state, the state
Hmm.
department, how they have
Right.
like construction to do to maintain the waterways and all that good stuff, and they have the engineers to do the
Hmm.
the actual ditches and all that stuff, the runways, the waterways, and all that good stuff. So yeah,
Right.
like I said, the less we have to outsource and to make this process a little bit better, and
So
we
the
will
more
have to
people we have in-house that handle these things, the better it is for us.
right. Yeah. So
Wow.
the main thing is just actually having an engineer just create it for us. Like, hey, this is how it going to work, and this is the only way it can work. Some people like to have fancy stuff and all these like special buildings and stuff like that, that's some real serious crunching numbers. So, so then the engine. So like I said, like the most part, it's just making sure that you have the right engineer that's going to create it for you.
Right. And then you have construction meeting.
Right. So the award of contract and notice to proceed. So once we award the contract to whoever that's going to do it, and then notice to proceed, then to go ahead and start with the project. And then the construction meeting is, hey, everyone comes together and we talk about, the scheduling, which is construction project. So you got the scheduling and controlling of the process. So yeah.
Alrighty. So that was the design and professional. Now we get into the contractors, the administration and the management aspect of the process. So the first thing I see is initial on-site operations.
Right. So the initial on-site operation is pretty much clearing and grubbing, getting the land prepped for construction. So you know how like you see some construction sites, they have like this, they have like a loop offices, they build offices or trailers, they be sitting out there. Yeah, so that's what that's all about. So they can, instead of working from the office in the building, like that's like 20 miles away or 5 miles away, they just get they just build something on site. So this way that they can operate out of there.
Right. That's what those little trailers are that you see on the construction sites.
Exactly. Are those the kickoff meeting? Exactly. So this is why I wanted to. I was trying to get in touch with you, brother, but I don't know if you got the message or not. But I see you say you was traveling. But yeah, I definitely like to talk with him though. He's get his insight on this too.
Who's that?
Odos 80. I think his name is Ali Doth, and
oh, is he in the chat room?
Yeah, he's in the chat room right now.
Peace. What's up? I hope y'all are screen capturing this because maybe I can come back and but I'm gonna go through it. Don't worry about it. So where were we? Mobilization?
Yeah.
That's where we were?
That's the next thing, mobilization. That's like I said, I kind of like went over that. That's all of the moving the stuff around, getting stuff on the site, ready to start out.
So that's the on-site mobilization and staging,
right,
basically. And then you got the project organization and the process meetings.
Right.
Let's explain that because we need.
So it's kind of like how we talked about. It's kind of like how this is set up. It's like a flow chart, like like what everybody's going to be doing, when are they going to be doing it, and how it needs to be done. So that's what all that is. So this is where your PMPs, project managers, come in, professionals come in at. I know a couple of PMPs, and they actually are going to help me out with the process. So, like I said, we're not all alone. So we still got people working behind the scenes. So don't think that this is just all talk that we talking, and we like dead serious about this, though.
Oh, I think after this show, they're going to know how serious we are.
Right. Yeah. So
after that, we got create, review, finalize schedule, initial purchase, ordering of materials. I guess do we really need to explain that?
No. So this is where you're
self-explanatory to me.
Right. So this is where your scheduling and control of the project comes in at. So this is where the I think it was a brother in there. He said he was I think not service section. What was he? Logistics. So this is where your logistics come in at. So, and they make sure that that the orders are coming in, and and then you have the person that actually controls the budget, the money. Hey, you got, so like for instance, we have $30 million worth of material, and to build whatever we build in, and their job is to make sure that that the material gets there and it's the right material, and that it's not being and the money is not being overused or being used somewhere else.
Right. And I guess, like when you say finalized schedule, initial purchase, or I would say the initial acquisition of the land, because it's not, it might not necessarily be a purchase per se, but it could be a deal with the existing host nation.
Are you talking about initial purchase of a material, ordering of material? Or
Oh,
you
is
talking
that
about?
the material or is that the land?
Yeah, that's just yeah, that's for the material. Like I said,
Oh,
this is where
okay,
the
okay, okay.
logistics
I'm
come in at.
mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah, so like the land acquisition, like I said, all this will be done up front.
Okay.
This will be done up front. And part of that of the land acquisition, you have to deal with economics. So
Hmm.
this is not just saying, oh, we're going to come in here and just build here and be like, okay, what is the economic factors that plays into this? The
Right.
micro and macro economics. I don't know how many economic buffs out there, but those two are crucial to when we are start building, because it's either we're going to grow or it's just going to be something that's not going to even make sense. Like I said, I won't touch too much on the micro or macro economics. I'll let someone
Oh yeah, yeah. We
who's
just
in that field
breezing
take that.
through.
Right,
We
right,
just breezing through and giving like an overview, so that people know what the process is. So basically, like if you look on the right hand side, it says the three major elements of a construction project. The first element is engineering,
correct.
which we touched on.
Yeah, and the design professionals,
Yep. We got management, which we touched on.
right? It's the contractors and administration and management.
Hmm.
And you got construction, which is
Right.
a part of the management as well. So you have your foremen, so on and so forth. And then you could get into depth with that too. So like that is a whole different conversation itself. As adults, I only know that. So like I said, this is just a typical sequence. But if
Hmm.
we really break it down, we could be here for hours.
Exactly. And so
So
that's why this is good that you did
right,
this. And I applaud you. Like there's everybody in the BAIO has been singing your praises over this. Because it just puts, it's good to have a visual representation so you can kind of put some method to the madness, so to speak.
right, right,
And well, let's touch on the first part of the contract: earthwork, grading, fillings, excavation, install foundation system, substructure. What can you
right. So
say about that?
this is where the surveyors come in and they put all the numbers and stuff down for the construction workers. They come in and they start doing their earthwork. So you start clearing and grubbing whatever area you're going to do. Like, I don't know, we probably have to take out a big hill or we have to create certain things. Yeah. So this is where all this work comes in. This is for the foundation. You
Hmm.
have to have a good foundation or else none of your infrastructure is going to last. Like I said, it's on the engineer that create this, but it's also on the construction worker
And
um,
execute it.
to execute and make sure that they're not cutting corners and stuff. Um, if it says, you need to cut this 3/4 of an inch, and you go like a whole foot down, or not 3/4 of an inch, yeah, 3/4 of an inch, and you go like a whole inch down, and that once you start working your way out, that 3/4 of an inch, now that shit done grew so big, and it throws the whole project off. So this is why it's crucial to pay attention to details.
This is what Minister DeWood always talks about when he says codes. Codes were put in place for a reason.
Yeah.
He said, and to put it in his words, he said, people, if you see a code, it's probably because somebody died. He said some mistake happened or something went horribly wrong. So that's where that code came from.
Right. And the engineer creates this. It's like a code book that they go off of. It calls for specific measurement, so you can't go and try to create your own shit.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, it is what it is. Let's not deviate from that. Like I said, but the practice here in the States, a lot of people like shortcut stuff.
Hmm.
And this is why people have failures in their infrastructure or their house later on in like 5 or 6, 7 years, because they didn't put the right base down.
Right.
or their basement cracking, and everything has codes to it, like you said. I guess that's what they mean by the let's don't go off code.
Right. Right. For a reason.
Right.
I don't think they know what they mean though.
Some people just hear stuff and just go with it.
Yeah, they just repeat it. It's like tape recorder knowledge. And so I guess that covers the install underground utilities. You touched on that.
Right.
Um, Erect structural frame
Frame.
system.
It's supposed to be frame system. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's the superstructure. That's the stuff
Explain
that's
that.
so that's pretty much your actual the frame of the house or whatever building that you're building. So
Mhm.
if it's called for steel or wedges or whatever the case may be, that's what you're gonna build. That's what you're erecting right there. You're gonna build that.
Mhm.
So that is the superstructure there. So like,
Oh, so I guess this is
and
in the context of a building, basically.
right. Yeah,
Okay.
whatever, like anything that you're building, everything has a base and anything, and then there's the substructure. So, your substructure, your base can be good, but your substructure can suck as well. Like I said, depending on the material you use.
Hmm.
So like I know here in the States, they use a lot of wood, which, a lot of people have to replace after a while. But I noticed over in the countries, like when I was deployed in Iraq, they made theirs out of cinder blocks, and it's concrete. Like that shit is sound. It's sound, literally. Like only way that thing was fell is an engineer mistake. I went to Bahrain, and they call flats out there. So what it is like it's kind of like buildings, but
Hmm.
it's like a big ass 1 story, like flats as they call them right here, 1 story, or what they call it, ranch houses. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, flats is what they call them in Europe, right?
I guess in Europe, but I know they call it in Bahrain and in Iraq, they call them flats.
Yeah.
So like you can literally like have a party and no one can actually hear you downstairs or upstairs. Only way they hear you is through the door. Like your
Oh,
neighbor
wow.
can't really hear you. So that's a sign of great structural engineering. So
Oh, that's the one you were saying where somebody can run a car into the side of it
right, yeah,
and
and
it
it
wouldn't
won't
do any
even
damage.
budget, yeah, because
Yeah.
they actually used concrete materials that they use them rebars for reinforcement, and this is why some buildings take so long to come down.
Hmm. Um, where were we? Install floor framing system.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much like this. Just all those kind of like common sense. I mean, people been living in houses for like quite some time now, unless you live in a trailer. I mean, it's kind of a little bit different, but it still has the same concept.
Okay. Then we got extended utility line slash systems build slash install envelope exterior walls.
Right. So like I said, depending on what you're going to use, what material you're using, this is what you're going to put up, and how we're going to run utility lines through there to actually feed power to the building or the structure.
Hmm.
So that's where your mechanical engineers or your electrical engineers come in at. They put up a grid system, how they're going to run the wire, and what's the best way, easy access, have access panels and all that stuff. That's where all that comes in at. So I will share. I don't know if anybody is like, if anyone I read like plans, everything is detailed. Like they have different plans, but it has like for different parts of the project. Like this is need to be built. They have the electrical plan. You have that blueprint, and then you have like
Hmm.
the structural blueprint. Roofing. So yeah, it's pretty deep.
Yep.
So,
And
for the most part, like when we're talking, let's let everybody know that this is going to be we're trying to build a smart city. So we're not trying to do stuff where it's like kind of productive for us. So we're trying to like have less work to do. So the electrical system, we would like to go with, someone said, like the solar power. You have the turbine power, and then you have the biodegradable power, which is this trash. They're using that right now. So whatever we build in, we have to think about how it's gonna fit into our actual nation. So
Geothermal, tidal.
yeah, all that good stuff. I don't know if you've seen. I posted the concrete.
Oh yeah,
You seen that one?
yeah, I did.
So like me, I'm big on erosion control. So like you got to think about wherever we put in this land at. Like I tell people, erosion control. You can slap a house and it looks good right now, but once the monsoon season coming and you don't have no erosion control or like a water system, you might as well just hang it up.
Right.
That's why you see some cities where streets are flooded, because when they actually built it back in the days, they didn't take into consideration that they were still going to develop more land and develop other things which are going to direct the flow of water.
Mhm. Yeah, I wanted to ask you. So I know you're not an architect, but I figure you might have an opinion on this.
Mhm.
One of the things that I never could understand is how come houses are designed the way that they are. Why are we sticking to this square box design of a house where it's not aerodynamic? So like anytime a hurricane or something comes, people lose their houses because it's just not it's not designed to withstand wind. But
Right,
if you had your house built like somewhat like a dome, that seems to make more sense to me.
right.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you said that, because it is a engineer who created a dome. I think it's one of the football teams. I think it was the Dolphins, or
Hmm.
one of the teams. But it is designed for a hurricane, F5, or another thing. I don't know what the levels are that the hurricanes, but it can sustain the heaviest hurricane. So they designed this roof just for that, and the actual stadium. So if it comes in, so once the heavy winds come in,
Hmm.
it takes that air, takes it in, and it pushes it back out where it doesn't damage the structure.
Right.
I think it's pretty.
Unlike a box where it's just like boom, you hit it
Right,
and it's either the wind is gonna win or the house is gonna win.
right. So,
House rarely wins in that situation.
right. Or you see a house floating down the road. That's kind of funny
Exactly.
to me, man. Yeah.
It's just,
So
I
like,
mean, it's just little design things that just don't make a lot of sense to me. Like I was talking about on the show before with cars. We can make cars so that cars never crash into each other.
right. Yep.
Like that can be eliminated fairly easily.
Yeah. But someone always tell me this: there's no money in the cure.
Ah, see
There's
that
no
gets to
money in
the
the
heart of
cure.
the matter. That gets to the
Right.
heart of the matter.
Right.
People,
There's no money in the cure.
yeah, people are not designing. Oh, I shouldn't say people because there are people across the globe who are starting to get the mentality.
Right.
But in America, it's not about efficiency.
Nope.
If you came up with the cure for cancer, it would be delayed for a few years until they could figure out a way to make money off of it.
Exactly.
That's not a good system to me.
Yeah, and this is why they holding out on this marijuana stuff, because they know that it helps a lot of ailments. But
Right.
if you're taking away their profit, shoot, hey, let's think about it, because anybody can grow weed in the backyard.
Right.
So they kind of gotta put regulations.
When I think about that, it gives me a headache. Just that the people will allow a government to operate in the way that they do.
Right.
Like oh, I ain't even gonna get into that. So right now we're in the actual construction work process. I think we went through this. Like we didn't
Yeah.
get into
So yeah.
everything, but we
Well, we
touched.
kind of like touched over everything. So install mechanical system, interior wall portions, accessories. Like I said, um, they just going off of the actual plans. So like at a certain point of the project, certain people comes in. So you don't need someone that's putting electric up at the beginning of your project. Why would you need that? It's just gonna be in the way. It's just gonna be waiting. So that's why the whole meeting is important. So, hey, this is the schedule we're going to fall by. So, and Ollie know about this is the critical path method for project management. What is the best way to go about it? We have to follow this path. We have to follow the schedule, and it have to be. We have to follow it to a T. So that critical point of like building a certain has to be done at a certain time. That's the path that you have to follow. So yeah.
Oh, you mean to tell me we're going to actually have to have a schedule where if we say we do something at a specific time, it has to be done? What?
Right. Exactly.
What?
Creating milestones for ourselves. So like everybody wants to jump in and do the microwave stuff. Like we said, it takes time. It's a process. You have to meet certain goals at certain points of the project. So you have to have your deliverables, you know. So if we're not meeting those deliverables, you know, then that delays the whole project. It throws everything off. So you have to stick to that. And you know, some people don't like to stick to schedule.
Install mechanical systems and then connect branch systems to mechanical equipment. Let's touch on that because maybe that might go over a few people's heads.
So that's like your HVACs, your okay, what if we have like we running off of whatever system that we have, a cooling system inside of the infrastructure or whatever. Whatever it is that you know you're putting into place that's going to be a part of the building, you need to install it, troubleshoot it, and make your adjustments before the next goes. Before the next person comes in and cover it up. It's like a mechanical room. It's kind of like your mechanical room. All that stuff down there, you know, all that have to be working before, you know, the building can be like operational or go on to the next phase.
Let me ask you a question because I was thinking about this as you were talking. I know that this process here is basically like for when you acquire land and you building a building, I'm assuming from the ground up.
Right.
What's the, well, I don't want to make this too difficult, but how different would it be like in these processes when you already have an existing building structure and you've renovated it?
Yeah, you just eliminate most of the stuff. So you're still going to go through your process of contracting and stuff and what needs to be done. So before it is turned over to you, it still has to go through its process. Like if you're adding anything, like if you're doing landscape around there, you're going to add a water fountain, or not a water fountain, but if you're adding like a new water system or something like that to the existing infrastructure, you know, things like that still takes place, you know. Well, you don't have to actually build. It just makes that faster.
I guess everything would be the same up until you get to the actual construction work process. Then that would be slightly different because most of that stuff will already be there.
Yeah. So I mean, so if you know, there's some people that's talking about the buying a town, like say they want to buy a town that's like up for sale.
Right.
You're still going to need engineers to go out there and make sure all this is operational. If not, you'll have to go back and apply or add stuff to it. That's the only thing that's kind of tricky about it, because you know it might cost you some money to actually replace certain things. And this is why I say the American infrastructure is failing, because they don't want to address these issues like the bridges and the roads. They just keep putting a Band-Aid on top of a whole. You need to just take the whole road out.
Exactly. That's what I was going to touch on. Like some things during the stages, like if you want to renovate, you might come to the conclusion that it's not worth renovating.
Right. Exactly.
It might just be worth demolishing the shit and starting from scratch.
Yep. So yeah.
Okay. I got you.
So like I said, it has its process. I mean, everything still has its process. You just take certain things out of it. So like, if anything, you're trying to update. If you're going to something, you want to update, make sure you have the new everything, the system is new, electrical system, and it's just like buying an old house. You know, they have an old electrical system. You don't want to go in there and they ain't got no master switch to the power
Right.
you know, so
Exactly.
or they still using old gas pipes, you know, and shit that's outdated. But yeah. And
All
the
right.
first one that we have up with the flow chart with owners, the project and design, the management and the construction. So that gives a
Oh, you want
sense
me to pull
of,
that up?
I mean, you don't have to pull it up, but it's kind of just letting people know the process and how it looks. We're the owners, you know, it's kind of like having an entitlement. It's kind of like saying, yeah, you know what? We are the people that's looking for to build this project, Afrikan. So that is the project itself. And then this is where the owners, BAIO, is going to get these people in to design and build our dream or our idea of how we want to build this nation. So yeah, exactly that one right here. So BAIO members, us, you know, the project is we create an Afrikan, and then from there we take our ideas and we take it to the design team, and they come up with the best concept and the best idea to actually run the system. So and then from that, once all that's good, you go into the next step of management and general contractors, and then you go into the construction part. So that's the flow of it.
And I wanted to touch on, like, y'all can screen capture that because I'm going to go back to the other chart. I'm so happy that we have professionals inside of the group because there's a lot of things that we as laymen don't know. And like one of the things that we were looking at the transportation systems.
Right.
And we had a discussion about this, that you have the Hyperloop system, and then you had the I think it's the maglev train system.
Yeah.
And the drawback with the Hyperloop system is that you said it's a closed system, right?
Right.
So it makes it susceptible to like you can mess up. I think you can mess up one portion of it, and the whole thing will like systematically fail.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like that's a problematic when it comes to, and also it's not really built for local transportation. It's more like long distance
Right.
Travel.
Right.
And then there's a lot of things you have to maintain within that distance. You have to protect that basic infrastructure. So there's a lot that goes with that. It's not like it's an impossible task, but it's like these are things that you need to consider. And the only people that would consider these type of things are professionals, people that know how this stuff works.
Yeah, they got to crunch those numbers, man. You know, like I tip my hat to these guys because when it comes to numbers like that, look, just give me the product, let me know what I need to do. Just give me the instructions. Like you already figured out the numbers and how it's supposed to work.
Right.
But there's another one. I think they're building one where they said the optimal way to use that system is to do it underground, because
Yeah, that makes sense.
any shift of like at the top can mess everything up. So where it's underground, they have like these buffer areas where they can like plan for movement and stuff where it still won't affect the system.
Right. Makes sense. Definitely makes sense. Where are we now? We're at we finished, I guess we finished the actual construction work process. We went through all of that. We touched on just about everything.
Here's what before we go into that. Well, here's what I like about that. What I posted in the BAIO group about the technology of the concrete, how it actually absorbs the water and it filters it out. So instead of having standing water on your road where people, it could be dangerous, hydroplaning and all that good stuff, and it like. Stuff like this is like stuff that makes you want to like make sure that you get it right, because you don't want to go back and tear it up later on. So like That the material that they're using now, like the technology that they're using now, is great. Like we can't even lose building this nation here, because we using actually everything that's up to date in the
Exactly.
future.
Exactly. That's the point that I've been trying to drill home, is that everybody keeps saying we can't do this and we can't do that. You dummies, don't you realize that this is the perfect time to do it? The perfect time, because like you said, you can have a nation develop with the modern and technological advanced materials of the time.
Right. Yeah. And for the most part, a lot of these developers, and they're trying to actually put the system in so someone can have an example of this. And
Thank you.
why not just go ahead and take advantage of that? Shoot.
Thank you. Thank
Well,
you.
we
I've
don't
been
have to
saying
come out
that.
of pocket.
I've been saying that. There's people that's been wanting to have a country develop their technology so they can use it as a prototype.
Right.
They say, just
Yep.
let us build it. Can you give us permission to build it? That's all they want.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're sitting up here playing these games, man. It's like, it's crazy. So what's the
Just let
last step?
um
Well, I won't
the
say
last
last, but
say
you know what I
last
mean.
step, but it's like the inspection, the punch list. So the punch list is just to say, hey, you have X amount of time to fix this deficiency before I accept it. Now, if I
Mhm.
accept it, it's not fixed at a certain time. It comes out of your pocket.
Right, right, right.
You owe me.
Right, exactly.
And as the process go through, like it says here, partial use occupancy by BAIO is just as it start getting up, like the first building that's up and have power and stuff going to it, you can start moving in. And I know Belle, she wants to be there, so like it will be the first thing I will put up is the medical center.
Right.
Think about you, Belle.
How's the chat room going? Like, is she been snapping her fingers?
Oh,
Or
you know
people
what?
leaving us alone?
I don't know. I just kind of like glance because I'm looking at like two screens and I'm
Oh, okay.
focusing on one
No
screen and I'm
problem.
looking. I see Bell in there. A lot of people is interested in it though.
Mhm.
Like I said, this is why it's important, and we try to get you people to join your chapters and join some of the groups that's in there. So this way you can network and start putting our minds together and start like coming up with plans and stuff. So we can't wait for no one to do it for us. So we have to do it ourselves. Yeah,
Yeah.
dream. I had a lot of dreams, but I didn't act on them. So it's just a
Right.
dream.
And the funny thing
But
about it is that the process is really simple. You join your local state chapter and you join your professional group, because we
right,
want to know how many professionals we have in these areas of industry, so that way we can put together a team. Like I said, we are developing, or like I should say, as Bell said, we're developing the we, the us, and the our. Because right now it's just a vague abstraction. People say black folks need to do this and black folks need to do that. Well, what black folks are you talking about, and what are they going to be doing? Because I personally, this is my personal opinion, I don't believe in asking the individual to make some ultimate sacrifice. I really don't believe in that, because I don't see no white people making no ultimate sacrifices here in America. Why? Because the land is built for them. The country's built for them. They just have to live and exist in it. They don't have to. What huge sacrifices are they making to be here and to be a white person in America? So I want
right,
the same thing for my people. I want you to be able to live somewhere knowing that this country and this land is for you. Stop requiring everybody to be vegan, or putting these things, these benchmarks. Oh, you got to do this. You got to be. You can't be a bachelor. You have to not wear a weave. Who gives a shit about all of that? Can our people just live? Can we just live? Just be?
right. And
I
a
long
lot
for
of
the day when our children are able to do that. Just be without all these fucking, like it feel like black folks is in this box that everybody's trying to put us in. We just want to have a land of our own in a way so we can be free, man. This is what we want.
Right. And I mean, just the feeling, and this is why I put BAIO in there to let people, have sense of entitlement. Like this is what we are actually creating. Like we're not going to actually reap the benefits right away, but the future is for the future. It's for our future, our kids' future, and it's just like I kind of give the analogy of like when our ancestors were slaves and stuff, the runaways, the fighting back. They did all that for us to be talking about this right here, going back. Even though it was multiple attempts of us going back, it's the what you call it, the stall tactics was put into
Mhm.
place.
Yeah, like that
Stall
show that
tactics.
was on today. The show that was on today. We having stupid discussions about who's to blame, who owes who more. Do the Africans on the continent owe African Americans more? Do the Africans owe the Africans on the continent? We having these stupid fucking conversations, and in the meantime, everybody's setting up their chess pieces right in front of us. It
Yep.
makes absolutely no fucking sense. I want to be in a place where people are progressive thinkers. People are problem solvers. That's the type of black folks I want to be around. If you're on some I can't, we can't shit, get the fuck out of my face and get out of the cipher. We don't have time for you. That shit, go to the misery merchants that love that type of stuff. You ain't gonna find a home here.
Yeah. And actually, you know what? To If everybody actually used their smartphone to do smart things, they would actually start looking up stuff that's important to them. So, like, just like we was talking about land acquisition. I was like, well, let me look at and see what's going on in Africa. So there's a couple of articles that shows that there are people going into Africa is like acquiring land for little to nothing. And we're just sitting back trying to figure out, well, I think we should go. I don't think we should go because, we was bought here and we did all this stuff. Yeah, I love the history story, but yo, it's time that we move forward with something. I mean, we've been doing this dance for like over 40 something years, 50 years almost. You know, Actually, it's longer than that, but I ain't trying to give nobody a history lesson. But it's a great book that I purchased called uh, African or African American, and it shows where we started dividing and saying like, nope, as you said, nope, I'm not an African, I'm a Negro or I'm black. So this is where the division started coming. So when it's time to come and start doing stuff like this, nah, man, I'm from America. I'm an African American. I'm gonna stay here.
Hmm.
Hey,
Stay,
that's
nigga.
yeah.
Stay. Stay. I want to. If there's one thing that I want people to take away from my channel and take away from the BAIO, but even if the BAIO doesn't is not down with this, I'll say that I want them to take it away from Holip. Nigga, I don't want you in Africa. Nobody is trying to convince your Negro ass to go to Africa. Why do you keep presenting this straw man as if, oh, the black people trying to guilt me into loving Africa? I don't give a shit whether you love Africa or not. What makes you like I asked a guy in the chat room? I'm like, who the fuck are you? Why do you think that you're important? I don't even like you. I'm letting you know I don't like you. So why do I want you in Africa with me? These guys got this delusion of grandeur. Like everything is about them. Like there's some, oh, well, we can't go to Africa until we convince Joe Blow here to get on the plane too. Come on, man. Stay here in America and keep dealing with the bullshit that y'all deal with in America and love it. Leave us alone. That's all I want. Don't come into our chat rooms. Don't come into African Senate forums. Stay in your we can do it right here forums and be miserable with each other. Because that's all. Whenever I tune into these shows, that's all I hear is misery. I go to the chat room, all I hear is misery. I don't hear anything. But I challenged the dude in the chat room today. Say one thing positive. He couldn't do it. He couldn't. He danced all around it. Oh, are you saying Malcolm X was negative? Like, no, nigga. I just asked you to say one positive thing, and he couldn't do it. because they've been programmed to not do it. They've been programmed for misery.
Yeah, you know,
That's why
my
you
friend.
never see this show that we're doing. Has it ever been done before?
No, not that I
To your
heard of.
to your knowledge, like in any
No.
of these African centered forums or conscious community culture bullshit, whatever, has this been taught? Has this what we're covering right here, what you guys are seeing on your screen? Has this been covered before? Is there another forum that you can go to where you're going to get this information? And we sitting up here talking about all this meaningless bullshit like flat earth and this and the, the this agenda and the black man, all the, oh my God. That's why I'm so happy that I'm in a group of people that are progressive thinkers. And I applaud each and every one of you guys in the chat room, everybody in the BAIO, you Dun Dotta, everybody who's a professional and who's a forward thinker. Because that's the only way our people are going to have a future. Because the chess pieces are being moved against us as we speak. Time is not on our side. Time is not on our side. And if you look through this list, where do you fit in? Because this is just the construction and management of whatever structures and sites we're going to build. But where do you fit in into the process of nationhood? Is it that fucking difficult for you to sign into a free group, join your local state chapter, and go and join your profession, a group that deals with your profession and network with people in your profession? Because I know when it comes to STEM, usually when there's a black person involved in STEM, if they're on a team, they're probably the only black person on that team. More than likely. They see they're surrounded by Asians, white folks, Indians, and all that. They don't have no other black folks. So here we are. We're creating an infrastructure where you can actually meet people of like mind that actually are in your profession. What's the holdup? What are you waiting for?
Or they'll downplay the black person and think that the white person or the Asian person is actual the mind behind everything. I'm like, wait a minute, no, that's me. What are
Exactly.
you talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah, like I had a good friend, and she told me that one guy just like overlooked her and was talking to her subordinate, like he was the guy. She was like, I don't know why you talking to him. I told him what to do. So it's like, why do we do that to each other? Like we like downplay each other. Like we're not smart enough to do this, and that's why this probably didn't gain as much traction. I wish I would have learned about this a little bit earlier, though. I definitely would have been on board. Like I said, when I heard this, I didn't hesitate. I was like, all right, well, I'll figure this shit out later. And that's when I went back to your archives and started listening from back then and up to this point. So it's a lot of great information y'all put out there too. So it's not like y'all just thought of this concept, but to see this kind of information being put out changes the game for a lot of stuff. So it's not we just talking about it, we be about it. And like I say, demonstration beat conversation all day. Show me, let's make this move.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, the only last thing is the design professional, the contractor design professional BIO section, where you say substantial completion, final inspection, punch list, which we already went over, partial use occupancy by BAIO, which we went over,
Right.
resolve the punch list, final cleaning, clear project area, certificate of occupancy, operating manuals, training, final completion and payment, turnover to BAIO, occupancy and use.
Okay, so here's what you like to talk about as far as the training. We're gonna go back to training. So whether it be the railway or whatever system that we have, whatever infrastructure that we work in, or whatever project that we're working on, someone has to know how to operate it. And this is the part of the maintenance part. So whereas like if we have someone that's going to come in and actually build us a system, a new technology that up to date, they still have to train us. And then once they train the personnel that's on site, then it's kind of like you create your own curriculum to do your own training, and you train the trainer. So it's kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important. So like you can't just go and just occupy and know you know how to run the thermostat or know how to run the cooling system or don't know how to run the grid system. You know what I'm saying? It kind of like defeat the purpose of, you know, you don't want to keep those people there. You know, we appreciate your help, but hey, it's kind of like a, you know, I scratch your back, you scratch my back. Like, hey, you fixed it, you built this, but you teach me how to do it, and then you could go along your way. We give you your money. You know, that's how I would like to look at it as a learning process. So training is there. So, and this is where you can actually start creating jobs.
Right.
Create jobs like this. Everything that we are doing, it creates jobs. You know,
And they don't realize, I don't think people realize the importance of what they're doing because, like I said, the BAIO is a means to an end. The end game is an actual government.
Right.
That's the end game. So where else do you think we're going to get this because government is not some, you know, it's not Godzilla that's out there in the sea that's separate from us. Government is people.
Right.
That's what government is. You have to have people in order to have government. So where are the people going to come from for our government other than the BAIO?
Yeah.
Because we know who you are. We know what you do. You know what I'm saying? This is why it's something so simple. We've made it so simple for nationhood. You know what you got to do? Sign up to the BAIO website, join your local chapter, and join your professional group. It doesn't get any easier than that. Anything other than that is just what comes with you being on the website. You meet people, you talk to people of like mind, you talk to people in your profession. And as we do that, we're growing basically departments. We're growing industries simply by us communicating with each other. So this is why I don't understand. Like, I don't have this sense of doom and gloom, despair and agony that a lot of these dudes have. Because I can see it. I can see every day. I can log into the BAIO website and I see that one engineer friended another engineer. One electrician friended another electrician. Or somebody that's in land surveying joined the land surveying group. I mean, that must excite you, Dun Dotta. If you see somebody that's a land surveyor and they join a group, you're like, oh shit.
Oh yeah, that's, man, as a heavy equipment operator, that's the guy you want to go to, especially when my business, like I said, was gonna erosion control. It's kind of like landscaping, but more focused on erosion control. So like for me, I would look for a land surveyor. Like, hey, I need to survey this land. I need to do some things. That's like my guy in my back pocket because I'm not licensed to do that. I mean, I can go out there and do the same thing he's doing, but you know, you got laws that you have to follow. You know, so like with the surveyor, like it's taking money out of the, you know, out of the mouth of the land surveyor too. All you gotta do is take that drone, fly up, do a pattern, come back, throw it to your AutoCAD. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, hey.
And speaking of which, don't they have like the technology on there where they can see the hot spots on the ground and all of that?
The highs and lows. So this is like where natural flow of the water will go. You want to set it up like that. So like farmers, they use that too to figure out, you know, where's the water going to flow to. So yeah,
I would,
hot spot,
you know, what really shocks me, man, and you tell me what you feel about this. I wouldn't say bother me, but it just shocks me. You would think that with all of the BS that's going on right now, with all of the people who actually are providing absolutely no solutions, you would think that we would be getting members by the thousands.
Yeah.
You would think we would be getting members, but it seems to me like people love bullshit. Like somebody said in the chat room, they want to see Diana's debate some guy named Dane Calloway or some fucking native pretendian. Like, really? That's what you think is a constructive use of time? Diana's debating a fucking moron? Really? See, this is all. That's why I'm beginning to believe that this is like entertainment. It's like you want to see Hulk Hogan fight the Ultimate Warrior. You want to see the Rock and Stone Cold. You don't actually want anything progressive. Because how could these people exist? How could these guys make a living off this stuff if they had an audience that was intelligent?
Yeah,
If there was
that
an audience that was actually intelligent, or an audience that has some logic and reasoning, these guys would be out of business.
yeah. And yeah, so I mean, that would be beneath Dynas because he did so much and like he's respectable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, why would he
That
lower
would
himself by being? You're gonna
exactly.
argue with some dude who straightened his hair out and got a headdress on? Really? You're gonna debate with Chief Running Coon? And what are we debating? Because I already said this. If you are a Native American and you feel that this is your land, fine. Why are we having a discussion? Why are we having a debate? These are African topics that we're touching on. Get out of the subject.
Right.
Get out of the forum. I mean, we creating these battles where they don't really exist. I don't think that the BAIO is in conflict with this Native American bullshit. We're not in conflict with the flat earthers.
But hey, you gotta ask, what is the end game if they find out the flat is Earth? What does that say? What are you gonna do? What's the purpose of that? Are you claiming the flat Earth, or like we have to get off the flat Earth? I don't get it. Like, what is the whole argument about? You still
It's
want to buy
intellectual
land? Yeah,
masturbation. That's all it is.
to me.
Intellectual masturbation is it's just like any other masturbation session. It's a whole worked up thing that produces absolutely nothing after you're done.
And
Quick
I think,
release, that's
yeah,
it.
the funny thing about that is, I think I've heard one or two arguments on that, and the argument was so dumb, I had to cut it off. They saying that the Earth was flat, and then they went to the Bible and started arguing about the Bible.
Yeah,
And I was
because
like,
we all
what
know
does
how
that
true
have to?
that is.
What does that have to do with anything? Like we trying to like.
When you go to the Bible to try to back up your point, I consider that a white flag of surrender. The debate is over. The argument is done. You've lost. You've admitted defeat. When that's what your big plan is, to go to the Bible. We're done.
So here's what I think that they should just do. They should go ahead and petition the states, America, say, hey, we want this part of land. Give us this land. Y'all can live happily ever after on this reservation. And then all the, the Israelites or Hebrew Israelites, whatever they are, they can go and go and fight their fight in Israel over there. Mm-hmm. And then we don't have to worry about them because we're talking about Africa. So we're not worried about, that retarded stuff. So, and for them to even come into the chat room to argue about why y'all going to Africa? Like, why does it matter to you?
Exactly. You're here. This is your place. Why don't you go to your chief and have a discussion with him? Why are you not talking to your chief, but you talking to us? Where's your chief at? What is he doing? Like I said, these niggas is gonna get out and they're gonna get on the plane runway and stop the plane from taking off. You're gonna see nothing but TPs and all that shit out there.
Yeah, that is crazy, man.
But anyway, do you think we did a good job of giving like a general overview?
Oh yeah, I think we did. Like I said, anything else is too deep. You don't want to lose the audience by going in too deep because I can get into my books and start reading off some of the stuff that goes into it. Just to give the people an idea of what it means to be a part of a project and part of something, that they have say so in. Like I said, the BAIO, we come and we hire the design team or engineer to build us our land. This is the idea that we want to go with. And they come up with this, hey, this is what we could do. And this is our baby, you know. We start from scratch, something from scratch that's actually gonna like be in history. This is gonna be history. Like, this is gonna be history, right? You know, this is gonna be history right here. You know, it probably don't gain a lot of traction, like, you know, like a lot of stuff, but or should I say, you know, be in the ear of the people, you know. But we just need to keep moving forward, because, you know, we waiting on everybody to stop thinking about the next election and stuff like that. You know, it's not going to happen.
Right.
So,
does anyone in the chat room have any questions for us, or questions for Dun Dotta? Let's get into some stuff here. Anybody? Oh, Information Man Show is here. Peace, brother.
yeah.
Oh, and by the way, peace to everybody in the chat room. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to greet you when you came in, but I had the full screen on and looking at the flow chart.
Right.
But peace to you all.
Yeah.
Any questions, y'all? Any questions?
So
Now's
like
the time.
So the next build, I mean, you know, if we could get the brother Adults 80 on, and I want to get with brother Jonathan too, because, you know, to hear his part, how it goes, and where it comes from. You know, me, I'm just a construction, you know, manager. So from his part, the development part will make a lot, you know, add, you know, sweet. I ain't gonna say sweetness, you know, some more flavor to the conversation. And you know, those I don't want to jack your name up, but Ali, he's a surveyor, and he's talking about the CAD and the process of the CAD. That's definitely important.
I am Lucy says, well, I have a meeting set up with some officials, including the president of Ghana this month. BAIO, what do y'all want me to present to them? What would you say to that?
What was the question again? Like
she says she has a meeting set up with some officials, including the president of Ghana this month. What do y'all want me to present to them?
Oh, shit. I mean, if we can, we would actually like to. What kind of land what size land are they willing to, like, you know, allot to, you know, to us for, is like building and you know, for the future. You know, I think there's a lot of undeveloped land there too. So
yeah, that would be a good question. I would be interested to know, like, yeah, what
you know, go ahead.
what portion of land, what part of land would they be willing to let us mess with?
Right.
Also, just letting them know about the BAIO, number one. Like, if they don't know who we are, I would say print out the About Us section and send it, and give it to them, because it's pretty much simple right there. Like, that's what it's all about.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you know, like, especially the legal part about that, you know, you gotta make sure that you know, the legal, you know, hey, we go out there, we start building stuff, and then all of a sudden we're like, yeah, I gotta go.
Isaac K asked, what professional organization would your guest suggest for safe surveying? I guess he's asking you that question.
What was
Wouldn't that
that
be
again?
us? What professional organization would you suggest for surveying, land surveying?
Wow, that could be, I don't know. I mean, we can do the land surveying ourselves. Like, it doesn't, like I said, we have the technology. All it is a drone, and then, you know, sending it up to whoever it is that you know, like your land surveyor, like Odos 80, you know,
Mm-hmm.
send it to him. He print it out on the CAD. You know, he does his magic on the CAD, and good. Like, yeah, it doesn't, like before, back in the days, it took you months to get information put down on paper to make, for surveying. But now it's just like a 30-minute flight time and psh, good.
Hmm. I would say, Isaac K, that the professional organization that I would suggest is the BAIO.
Right.
That's where I would go. Join the site and join the because we got a land surveying group there, and we got land surveyors.
ODOS 80, he's a land surveyor, so shoot, why
Right.
not keep it in house? Shit.
Yeah.
Get with him.
Odos, send me your math. Send me your information, your contact, because I want to get you on the show. We can probably have you and Dun Dotta together. And it's holipsism@gmail.com. Holipsism@gmail.com. Just send me an email and we'll hook it up. We'll definitely get you on the show. Let me see if I can get some more questions here. Oh, this is from Odos 80. He says, what would be the plan for a communications backbone? I don't know if he's asking you that or was he asking somebody else, but that's a question I see.
Oh, I don't know what you mean by you talking about communication as far as like setting up communications, or are you talking about just communicating within the BIO? What are you talking about?
Not sure. Odos, break that down a little bit more. Where else? Where else? Where else?
Oh, he said Isaac K talking about hold up. I mean for actual training and getting certified.
Oh, okay. I guess you guys would know that better than me.
Yeah, that's like if you're trying to get certified surveying, yeah, that's you got to go to school for that. That's yeah, you got to go to school for that. But like I said, it like surveying is not that hard. It's just like just getting certified, documentation. That's all that is. Because I know a few surveyors back in the days that they didn't have no license or nothing. They were just out there surveying. But he said like fiber, cults, and copper system. I don't know. We have to ask. I don't know who's in communication. I think most people go with fiberglass or yeah, fiberglass, fiber optics, not fiberglass, fiber optics for communication now.
I'm trying to get some more questions. Andrew H says, would be built in single detached housing or family compounds, which would be more beneficial?
Ah, that was a good question. That was actually what I wanted to talk to. So when we designing this, whatever, like the urban area or the business district, whatever. As far as the family house, like I don't know. I mean, I would go with the flats. Those flats is a great idea. Like those things is I like that. But if most people want like separate space. But then again, depends on how much land we are acquiring. Is it going to be enough for everybody to have their own 5 acres to 10 acres? You got to look at stuff like that. But I think the flats idea is a great concept. 2, 4-story flats, multiple flats, not all congested together, but that would be great.
Guys, I want to kind of nail it down to land surveying because that's what his specialty is. So I don't want to get him in something that's not really in his wheelhouse. Let's deal with the land surveying for now. Like, are there any questions that you guys have in regards to that? Because you're getting into fiber optic cables and all this other stuff. I understand. We're gonna touch on that at one point, but right now we're
Yeah,
dealing with
that's communication part. Like for the most part, like when it comes to us building whatever we're building, whatever that communication system is going to be installed in there. So that's part of the project. And the schedule, whenever time it is for them to come in and put it in, we got to make sure this is what we're going with. I mean, like I said, if we're building from scratch, we don't have no problem of like doing the initial work. And if we're going to actually change it out, let's build a system that we can actually, don't have to do the cost of construction is going to cost us a lot,
Right. Anybody?
For the most part, if you look at most cities are built off of a certain design. So I don't know if everybody ever pay attention. If you ever get in an airplane and you see how it's like everything is mapped out like in like grid patterns and everything, that's how you look at when you're building your area or whatever you're trying to build up an area. If you look at a spider web, how a spider web is connected, you have the main point. It starts out and then it goes out in big, and you have different sections that's broken off. So you could think of those as like the streets and the crossways, and and those areas within that one between those lines are like sections of housing and stuff. So just look at a web system and look at it like that, and just imagine just putting houses with in between each line.
Richard Victor Dixon says, I'm concerned about the approach with the Ghana officials. Richard, let me be honest with you. I haven't even looked at Ghana, to be honest with you. Ghana never really came up as one of my options. So I'm not, I know there's some people that's into it and stuff, and I don't want to, take away from their energy or whatever like that. But for me personally, I never looked at Ghana as one of the places where I thought we would be building our nation state. That's just me, But what is your concern? I'm more interested in that. Like, what's your concern with the approaching of Ghana? If you can type that in the chat room. Odas80 says, my question was about basically how are we going to approach building a communications backbone from scratch without a satellite or anything? That's going to be an obstacle. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so yeah, so that's some of the things that we have to tackle. So like I said, we don't have all of those answers right now, but this is why we need to network and get with these people that actually have a better idea of how we're going to actually get this into place, because that is.
Can I just say something? And you're going to probably find this funny. Odas80, if the question is, if we're in a forum and we're asking questions about how we're going to approach building a communications backbone from scratch without a satellite or anything, that's going to be an obstacle, then I'm basically in heaven right now. If you understand what I'm saying. If that's the things that we're talking about, then mission accomplished. Because that's nothing. Like that's a small problem. If I don't even consider that a problem, it's just something that we have to get our brains together and work around. So if that's what we're talking about, I'm good. I'm good. If you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
Because look at what else is being talked about just in general and all over the place. Just complete and utter nonsense. So if we're actually having conversations geared around problem solving for infrastructure and communications and land survey, man, please, I'm where I need to be. I'm where I need to be. And that's a good conversation to have. And it's probably one that I'm not even going to be involved in because I'm not a communications expert. So we got to deal with the people that are in the BAIO where that's their profession.
Isaac K. I don't know if you answered this question or not. Holism, a question for you or him. What is the idolized site for the first colony center, coastal or in the interior?
Personally, I like coastal only because I'm more interested in the land, the airports and the seaports. That's just me, because I'm interested in trade, and I don't like
Right.
being landlocked. That's just my personal opinion.
What's that? Ross Stafari, type of land terrain. Like we talked earlier, it depends on where we are. Is it feasible for what we're trying to do? So if we get a mountainous, hilly kind of like terrain, or work on that, you gotta, like I said, you gotta think about your water drainage and erosion control. So those will be your biggest thing. And then you have to think about, you have to cut out slots. So you actually have to do a lot of digging. But you know, the less of a grade, the better the as faster you can build this this land. Not build the land, but the nation.
Right.
So it like I said, it depends on when we get that survey and we come back with that the survey and like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a problem here. We don't need to move
Right.
here. We probably can move left or right.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, being at the coast, yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And like you said,
Import, exports.
we said that at the beginning of the broadcast that we can have as many options as we want. But the problem is, well, not a problem, but the thing is, we don't know what it's going to be until we actually survey it.
Right.
We have to survey whatever the land is. So it can be Ghana, it can be Kenya, it can be Namibia, it can be Angola. You can just pick a place, no matter what, even if like, because I think somebody asked me, I think Robert asked me, do you want to say what the top 3 location options are? I'm like, really? Does it really matter? Because no matter what I say, I could throw 3 countries out of my mouth. It doesn't matter because we have to go there and we have to survey it and we have to see if it's feasible for us. And that requires a lot. There's a lot of factors that go into that. Like, first of all, number one, political climate.
Right.
What type of political climate are we coming into, or are we operating under? You know, what type of government, how much does that government wants to interact with us? What are they willing to work with us on? I mean, it's a lot of different things. So in terms of, like you were saying, raising money in regards to the Ghana situation, keep your money in your pocket, bro. Save you. Don't, because we don't haven't made any clear and concise decisions about where the land is going to be, because we haven't actually gone over and surveyed any land. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Silent Killer asks, is 3D printing viable option for cut costs on labor and building costs? like we said earlier, you know, materials that goes in part of the part of materials and contract administration management, the initial purchase and ordering of materials, depending on, or the engineer. If he calls for 3D, hey, 3D print material, that's what we're gonna roll with. If it's gonna last us for 100 years, yeah. If it's just gonna last us 10 years, why go with it? You know, that's what I'm saying. The engineers would be doing most of the, hey, you know, this would be the best thing for what you're trying to build. Maybe if it's something that you know, don't really care too much about or are going to replace, yeah, you can probably go with that. So as far as 3D printing, I don't know too much about the science on that. I've seen that, I think I've seen the article where I think the Marines built I think they built a shed, not a shed, but a freaking barracks out of 3D material. So yeah, who
Oh
knows?
yeah, that 3D
But
material is no joke.
yeah, but like I said, I don't know how long how long it stands though. You know, it's like putting untreated wood on concrete. How long is that gonna last? It's gonna last you a couple of years, but you know, eventually you're gonna have to change it out, and then that means you got to tear down some parts of the infrastructure to replace that. So
And that's
No,
why I
no.
think a lot of the bulk of our conversation has to be, because I'm very big on foundation.
Right.
I think that we should that has to be talked about and pined over as much as possible, because when you lay it down, we don't want to be in a situation that America is in, where you got to basically upheave everything that you've done. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And start from scratch. You know, like, I mean, to some degree, at some point you're gonna have to, renovate. But at least that should be way down the line. Way down the line. If you do it if you look and you're building toward the future and building toward not erosion and sustainability, then whatever that material is that we use initially should last for hundreds of years. It should. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Am I missing questions here? Hold on, let me scroll up.
Aldos 80, we need a political person who can explain what we need to do the survey and to survey the land. Like I went over that earlier, brother, about the land acquisition, the team that land acquisition team that's a part of that. So the land acquisition team is the actual, like, the salesperson of the BAIO. So they are there to pitch the idea and talk about it. So that's that one pitch person that's going to put our idea out there and sell it to that whatever host nation we go to. So yeah, you're right though. But you definitely want, like I said, anything that have to do with legal contracts and stuff. You want legal personnel there with you, so they can go through and comb through those, comb through the writing and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
and if you want to be a part of that process and you're in the legal field, I suggest you join the BAIO and join the legal department. We have an industry and department for every aspect of nationhood, and if there isn't one, we'll create it. Kofi, what's up, brother? Have you guys heard of Dr. Harnett of the African Business Jumpstarter? She gives you monthly consultation for about $97 a month. Should I be wary of such platforms that charge, or is it a good invest? I'm always wary of people who charge. I'm not saying that I mean, it could be totally worth it, but I'm just saying, as a knee-jerk response, I'm always wary of people that charge. That's just me. But I would look into it and research it, get some what do they call them? Some what do they call it?
what's that?
Testimonials.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, get some testimonials and find out if it's worth it. I don't want to give the impression that I'm against every type of charge. I don't want to give that impression, but I'm just saying, being in the part of this culture conscious community, my first reaction when I hear charges is, okay, I always raise an eyebrow, because there's too many people out here getting paid for information that we really don't need to be getting paid for. And I'm not, keep in mind, I don't know who this woman is or who this person is, so I'm not talking about them. I'm just talking about my prejudices and my experiences in dealing with this community. And that's one of the reasons why we took the position that we didn't want to charge people to come into the BAIO, that we wanted to make this as easy a process as possible to get people involved in nationhood.
Right.
Yeah,
and this is the product. And this is why we are actually doing this show, so you can have a better understanding. So where most people talk about stuff and you still trying to figure out, well, what the hell are you talking about? Well, how are we going to do this? Or how are we going to do that? But we're actually showing you the process of how we're going to acquire this land and how we're going to build this land and what the process is. Like, we're not talking just to be talking. Like, they're actually talking about moving. So it's either you down with that, or you just keep moving. I ain't mad at you.
yeah.
Just keep moving. Just don't waste my time or waste our time.
Richard says, I think she's credible. I've read some of her material and haven't come across any bad info about her. That's good. Like I said, she could be totally credible. Totally credible. And if it is credible, and if you can do it, knock yourself out. Avery says she allowed me to be part of her academy when I didn't have the money. Sounds like a good deal to me.
Right.
because that's what we need, man. Everybody, we trying to disseminate as much. And like I said, this is an overview what we went through tonight. This is not the, like, but you ain't even getting that nowhere. Am I wrong, Dun Dotta? You ain't even getting the overview nowhere. We haven't even gotten into the deep, because every aspect of that chart that you guys saw, we can break down and we can go into it. We can have a whole damn show. We can be doing shows for the next year just based on that chart.
Right.
Every aspect of it can cover a show that lasts a couple of hours. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And
So
as far as, go ahead.
No, I was going to say what we're doing is just giving you an overview to let you know that this is not some willy-nilly process, and that we have Dun Dotta is a professional, and we have other professionals. We have master electricians. You know what I'm saying? We have people that's and we have a big IT department. Big IT. I didn't realize how many people were into IT. So, Holip, you so damn cheap. Why am I cheap? I'm not cheap. I'm taking you to Bell. Oh, do y'all know that Bell has a restaurant in New York? It's called Bell Harlem. Now you know we gotta go. When you come to New York, we are going to Bell Harlem. Trust me on that. And I think Bell's a foodie too, like me. So yeah, we're gonna definitely do that. That way I can prove to you that I'm not cheap. ask my woman Esther. We went to the freaking River Cafe here in Brooklyn by the Brooklyn Bridge. That place is not cheap. That's like an event place. You don't go there all the time. You go like once a year. Oh man, what am I missing here? I don't think
Just to
anybody
address
has any.
what about the sister was doing. Like I have in my mind, when someone says they're charging money, I'll always look at it. Is it good information? And I know that the person, is this their only means of like bread and water? You know what I'm saying? Putting food on the table. I totally get that. But if it's just somebody that's just out there that's just trying to give you information for stuff that you already know, I mean, that you can find out on yourself, then, I would just, I call
The rule
BS
of thumb, I think I'm speaking more of the rule of thumb. The rule of thumb is be suspicious of people who's charging. That's the rule of thumb. And I'm not questioning anybody's intentions or whatever. I'm just saying, as a rule of thumb, when you hear people charging for information, just look into it, because it could be completely legitimate. The information that they're giving you could be helpful, and it could be legitimate. And that person maybe is charging you because of the hard work that they had to go through to compile the information. I understand all of that. But
Right.
as a rule,
Right.
whenever you're getting charged for something, just look into it. Don't just knee jerk and blindly accept that everybody that's charging you something has something of value to sell. That's
Exactly.
my point.
That's a great point right there. Well, yeah,
Oh, they think that Bell owns the restaurant. Let me clarify. Bell does not own the restaurant. It's called Bell Harlem. I sent it to her because it was Bell Harlem, and I knew she would get a kick out of that. She doesn't own it. Okay. Go ahead, Dun Dotta.
Oh no, I was going to say, man, I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry about that.
No, it was. I don't think it was. I think I was going to talk about something from the chat. Yeah. But anyway, you just go ahead with your next thought and whatever.
I believe Odell was expressing about the Americans. He said something. Let me see. He says a personal concern. Are we worried the American reaction to Afrikan's success, given that it's still standing by that time? No. And to be honest with you, a lot of that I think we need to have a discussion on within the BAIO and not here.
Right.
Because one of the things, and this is the reason why I say we need to stay clear of these kill whitey Negroes. I look at Iran, and Iran hasn't Iran. They have, I think they have at this particular point smart leadership involved in Iran compared to when they had Ahmadinejad there. because Ahmadinejad basically caused more problems for them than they should have had. Like what you don't want. Listen, I don't care what you feel about the United States or how negatively you feel about them. Can we acknowledge that they're the bully on the block? Can we acknowledge that? Like, is it a shameful thing to admit the United States is the #1 superpower in the world? They have their military budget is I think twice or triple than the next nearest country. So why would you want to engage in this and posturing as if you're going to have some military battle with the United? That is not a smart person who does that. That's not a smart person. That's like you trying to challenge Brock Lesnar and you still in your crib. You still in your mom's crib, but you're going to challenge the MMA champion? You see, niggas who's all concentrating on this confrontation, this physical confrontation with the white man, I really stay as far away from them as possible. Do you realize that we can build a lot of building and a lot of progress without that even being involved in the conversation? Because really, it shouldn't be involved in the conversation. We're not getting a nation so we can fight the United States. We're getting a nation so that our people can have a future in a place of their own. That's the purpose of our nation. Right. If you want to fight against the United States, come to the U.S. and fight the U.S. here. Captain America Negro, Black Power American, that's what you want to do anyway. Why do you have to? And a matter of fact, you don't even agree that we need a base of operations. So then what you fucking with Afrikan for? Establish your base right here in America and fight the white man. Since that's what you want to do. We want a future for our people. We want a context that we can control. And if you're going to fight and if you're going to die over something, at least let it be something tangible and concrete.
Right.
When you build a land and you build an actual nation, then yeah, if somebody comes and tries to take that nation over, you fight them to the death. That's just, but do I have to say that? Do I have to make some special announcement about that? Or should that just go without saying? But when the bully is on the block and you're walking around talking about, yeah, I'm going to get me some nuclear weapons because I have the United States, you are just putting yourself out there to have your nation be war torn. What infrastructure projects do you see getting built in fucking Iraq?
Oh, man.
In Syria? All these places where the United States is bombing. But all these hardcore niggas want to go, yo, see, that's a problem. Your niggas scared. You don't want to fight. So you want your nation and the land that you're on to be war torn? You wasn't satisfied with the bullshit that you was going through in America. Now you want to take that shit to Africa. Come on, man. This is why I want intelligent people around me. I want intelligent brothers and sisters, progressive brothers and sisters around me. I want to have those conversations that Odessa is talking about, Odas 80 is talking about, where we're actually sitting at a table saying, you know what are we going to do about this satellite problem?
Exactly. Thinking. That's what
I want to talk about.
Thinking.
Yo, what roadway system are we going to use? How are we going to prevent flooding in our nation? I just posted something about vertical elevators. Or horizontal elevators, I think. Oh, actually, it's vertical and horizontal. Like they go both directions. And it has no cables and stuff like that. I want to get into the technology. I want to get into better ways of building, like what you said about how to build sustainable structures where it doesn't erode over time. These are the things that we should be interested in. Why you actually have these psychopaths who want to build a nation so they can go to war with the United States? Are you serious? You know, I convinced I did this, brother. This was something that I did recently. I want to share this. I was talking to a brother who was against nationhood. Not nationhood. How could I put it? He was against nationhood on the continent, but he was for black people taking over America. And you know how I convinced him? At least I got him to admit or to think about what we were talking about. I knew his personal history, and he used to be married.
Right.
And I know what he did to get when he got out of that marriage. So I just threw it back at him. I said, listen, when you got divorced from your wife, did you fight with her about the house? Did you fight with her about the car? What your position is, I put a lot into this marriage and I got to get something out of it? Or were you so tired of that woman that you said, you can keep that shit, I'm gone?
Right.
And what did he had to admit it. He said, he said, I just wanted to be away from her. I said, well, then now you understand where I'm coming from. And what could he say? That shut the whole conversation down. All he could do was just laugh because he knew that I was right. If you can understand it on a personal level like that, you said, all I want, this woman is so toxic. All I want to do is be the fuck away from her. She can keep the house. She can keep the whatever material things. Just let me get out of that situation because I can always get my shit back.
Yep, you replace those.
So how do you go from that in your own personal life? You endorse the philosophy that you fighting me against. Now, when it comes to the United States, oh, well, we put a lot into this country. Oh, so now you're using a totally different philosophy on that level that you did in your own fucking personal life. How do you justify that? Conversation ended. Conversation over. And that's how you got to get people to not look at this stuff as some lofty principles. Apply it to your everyday life. How do you respond when you're in a situation, a toxic environment where just by you being there, it's fucking you up. It's fucking up your health. It's fucking up your mental health, your physical health. You're going through all of this bullshit because you're there. Oh, Adas, I'm not talking about you. I hope you ain't think I was talking about you. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the kill whitey Negroes. But yeah,
here's another thing. Like we talked about this last time. Like
mm-hmm.
these real militant guys that's ready to set it off or whatever. I guarantee you, man, that it wouldn't last too long, man. And here's a story I gotta tell you. Like I had one of those guys that was up under my leadership. He was one of my squad. So we was in Iraq, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I'll do this, do that, and I'm tired of staying on this base." And I was like, "Shit, ain't nobody stopping you from going out that gate, dude. If you really about this, you can go ahead and go out that gate." Guess what? That tone changed. Like, come on, you telling me that you're gonna go out here and do this, or you don't want to be here on the base, but now you're telling me that you're gonna go out there and fight? Like, with what? With who?
It's a bunch of tough talk, man, and that's what annoys me. It's like, stop fronting, have an honest conversation. It's like, you're not gonna beat Floyd Mayweather if you don't even box. You know what I'm saying? Stop acting like you a tough guy. Stop fronting. Because this dude who I had that conversation with, I said to him, I said, you left that divorce, you got another wife, and you're doing pretty good. So isn't that your ultimate revenge against this person? This person now has to see you living your life. You with another person that you happy with, and you're happy together, and you building together. Could you imagine what it would be like if you in your relationship with your current wife, and every day you talking about the woman that you left? Then what does that say? Maybe you still want to be with her. Because if the wife is gonna eventually ask that question, like, why are you talking about this bitch all the time? Man, I'm your wife now. What the fuck I'm keep hearing about her?
Right.
See, this is what people don't understand. It's like white people have successfully placed themselves at the center of your universe. So even when you think you hating them, it's mission accomplished for them because they still in your mind. Your mind is still centered around them.
Yeah.
This is what I want my people to understand, man. And I understand the process because trust me, I went through the same thing that, oh, I hate white people and all this other stuff, and they did this and they did that. At some particular point, it becomes less about other people and it becomes more about you. Like Bell says, success is the greatest revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine, with all of our BAIO professionals, we're able to put in a proposal to a African country, and that African country says, yo, let's do it. We go over and we set up and build, and let's say we have it built, I'm going to say within 5 years. And we start occupying and going about the process of occupying this land and using this land. We got a successful, everybody's happy. The happiness index is through the roof. Our economy is great. People are working because you got new infrastructure and new projects and all this stuff. So everybody's participating in this nationhood. It's our golden age of African. Are we actually going to be sitting over there concerned about white people in America?
Yeah. And here's the thing, and this is what a lot of people like. If they could just drop that idea and worry about, we always on the defense here, thinking we always have to think 2, 3 about all the stuff that we have to go through here. Just can you imagine just being somewhere where you don't have to think about shit? Am I going to get shot? Am I going to get shot for going, going to work? Or, am I going to be randomly looked over because, I am more qualified overqualified for a job? Look, you create your own, so you don't have to worry about that stuff there. Like, if you do that, you're like, oh man, that just get me excited. Every time I talk about that to people, I'm like, yo, I'm moving forward. I don't care what y'all. Yeah, I can talk about this shit all day, but I'm done.
Yo, you know what I want? You know what I want to happen? You know what I want to happen? I want to experience this because white people in this country have actually experienced stuff like this. There was a lady at my job who lives in a all white neighborhood, very well to do white neighborhood. She was in such a rush and such a tizzy and had so much things going on that she left with her front door completely open. Open.
Oh.
Nobody ransacked the place. Nobody stole anything. They just said, oh, she must have left her door open. And she came back home, door was open, nothing was stolen. She closed it and then cursed herself out for being so stupid for leaving the door open. But that's what I want.
Right.
I want that same fucking thing. And I'm telling you, I have taken this white man out of the center of my universe a long time ago. I can't even put years on it. A long time ago. That's the reason why we don't talk about these people in these chats. Like, at least in mine, you don't hear me talking about white people because I don't give a fuck about white people. I care much about white people as white people care about me. There's not one single white person in America that's sitting up here going, yo, is Holip's lights on right now? I wonder if he got any food. You think he's hungry? I'm an afterthought. I'm not even a thought, not even an afterthought. I'm not even a thought in their mind. And that's how they are with me. I don't think about them. The only thing I care about is black folks and what are we going to do for the future. And like I said, I'm at retirement age. So like basically this ain't even for me anymore. It's for us. I might not even get to see the benefits of everything that we're doing right now. But at least if we can get the fucking ball rolling, then maybe our people and our future generations can benefit from it.
Right. Yep. And
so that's it,
what
man.
I said earlier. Yeah.
That's it.
We might not reap the benefits right now, but the process of this right now going forward, knowing that in the future that it'll be our own Wakanda.
Hmm.
That'd be so. Oh man, it'd be so much easy on the mind. You know
And
what
I
the
don't.
funny thing? Oh, I hate to cut you off. The funny
Go ahead.
thing is that speaking about like how like you said how like that person left the door open and stuff. Why people walk around with not a worry in the world, but yet we have to worry about that shit in their world. So if we create our own world, guess what? There will be an after. There wouldn't even be a thought in our world because we'd be so focused on living productive lives.
Yep.
Just think about that. No kid ain't got to worry about going to school, getting teased or overlooked, or can't go to school because he has dreads, or a woman, some sister can't get a job because her hair is she has an
Right.
afro. Come
Or
on, man.
her name is an African name, so we can't hire
Right.
her because her name. Come on, man. It's like all of this bullshit that we don't even realize that we deal with, and we just take for granted because black folks are so used to just moving on. Like we don't really sit back and go, oh, if something is unfair, we don't cry about it. We just get around it. And
Yep.
in a way, and there's negatives and positives attached to that. It's negatives and positives attached to it because I always keep thinking of that saying about the unreasonable man. They say the reasonable man adapts to the world that's around him. The unreasonable man expects the world to adapt to him. That's
Hmm.
the reason why all progress is made by the unreasonable man. And I consider myself the unreasonable man. I don't want to just adapt to whatever is around me. And see, I understand that type of thinking because that's where the rugged individualism comes from. They're saying the system is a system. You can't do nothing to change it. So you might as well do this. That's their mentality. My thing is, fuck the system. I want a system of my own.
Exactly.
So I'm the unreasonable man. They're the reasonable man. The reasonable man, yo, put him in whatever, and he can just get around it. He'll cater his behavior to whatever that existing system is. Fuck that. I'm not jumping through no fucking hoops for this system. I want my own system so that way I can live like y'all live. You live free. So I'm gonna be living in bondage, and just so so my goal, my whole existence is based around, oh, well, at least I'm able to make it in somebody else's system. That's my ultimate goal. That's some punk shit to me. And I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know, and and if you feel called out in this chat room, consider yourself called out when I make this statement. If you're in this chat room and you have not joined the BAIO website, I'm really questioning you as a man and as a woman. I really am. What's the fucking reason why you have not joined the BAIO? What are you waiting for? Like I said, we should be getting thousands of black folks joining us. Thousands. Yet we still have people who come in our forums, listen to this shit, and they still haven't joined. So what are you waiting for?
They waiting for it to be built already, man. What you talking about?
Oh, okay.
They don't want to do all the work, or they want to see if it's actually going to be made, or is it just another? I mean, I understand why some people are kind of like have some reserves about at first, but you won't know unless you actually come in and be a part of it. So
Right.
sitting there just trying to debate, or figure out if you're going to come in and contribute to it, it's either you're going to do it or you don't.
Yeah, the question stage is over unless you asking those questions within the group. And most people that's in the group ain't asking questions. They joining up and they communicating with their own brothers and sisters. You
Right.
start to get a less into the asking question shit because who are you asking the questions to? I mean, I can answer what I can answer. Dun Dotta can answer what he can answer, but we only represent a small portion of what the BAIO is about. So when you say, where's the land going to be at? That's my question. Who you asking it to? You asking it to every member of the BAIO? Where the land going to be at? Or you think you asking it to some leader? Who's that question directed toward? Why don't you get in the game? And getting into the game does not mean making no ultimate sacrifice. It means joining a free website, joining your local state chapter, and joining your professional group. That's it. That's it. Now, what you do from that point will depend on your own personal passion. Are you going to just sit back and watch everybody else communicate with each other and network with each other and you just there? Or are you going to actually get involved? Are you going to contribute somehow? Maybe your contribution can be something like allowing your YouTube platform to be used as a host for a show.
Right.
It could be something as simple as that. You can be the person that organizes the Google Hangouts. There's something that you can do. There's something that you can do. You don't have to be a highly skilled professional, but there's something that you can do. It beats just sitting back doing fucking nothing and engaging in these stupid ass conversations online. We're trying to build and we're trying to move forward, but we need our people to do it. There's 50 million of us here, 40 to 50 million black people. There's not enough people in the BAIO for us to even justify, say we're gonna take up what? How many miles is New York?
I don't even. What you talking about? I don't even know.
What would be 10 square miles of land? Would you say that New York is 10 square miles?
Yeah, East Borough, yeah, probably so. 10
Yeah,
square miles? Yeah.
10 square miles of land. And we're going to occupy those. How many people exist on 10 square miles of land? I think it's a little bit more than 500. You see where I'm going? You see where I'm going with this? Everybody's talking about land, 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 land. How many people are getting their ass into the fucking group so that we know how many people are going to be on the goddamn land?
Right. Don't be peeking through the blinds. Bring
I
your
mean,
ass on in here.
500 people is about, are there 500 people on my block? You see where I'm going with this?
Right.
So you're talking about occupying miles of land. Well, we need the justification for that,
Right.
which means that you got to be involved.
Yep.
So, I hope that this show did some type of game, gave people some type of a value and at least makes it clear that we need more people who are for nationhood. Now, keep in mind, I'm not recruiting nobody. I'm talking about people that are interested in having a land of their own. Those are the people that I'm talking to. Consider these shows like what do you call it? A lighthouse that you see in the ocean where the tides are going crazy and it's a storm. You see a lighthouse, a beacon of light. That's what these shows are. And what is the beacon for? It's to attract people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the beacon is for. The beacon ain't there to convince the ship, oh, come over here so you can be safe. If you want to stay out in the water and fucking drown, you can do that. The beacon is for the people that want to come and say, oh, wow, this is where the safety is. This is where I need to be. So we're trying to connect with people of like mind. We're not trying to convince anybody of anything. So cut out that freaking straw man that you got black nationalists and African-centered progressives out here trying to convince niggas that they should love Africa. I don't give a shit if you love Africa. As a matter of fact, you can hate Africa. I don't give a fuck. Just stay out of my cipher. Stay out of our discussions. Stay out of our forums and do whatever the fuck you want to do. So I'm killing that talking point right now. Nobody's trying to convince any of these bootlicking Negroes that they need to come and love Africa and be a part of Africa. Stay your black ass here in America. You don't want to be African and you just want to be black? Well, then you stay in your black land, wherever the fuck that is. You can just throw that in the bin with all your other vague abstractions, like the conscious community and all this other stupid shit. There's just a bunch of words that don't mean nothing. And let the people that's for something tangible and concrete build and network with it. As a matter of fact, you ain't got to let us do it. We're doing it anyway. You ain't stopping us. Am I wrong, Dun Dotta? Or is anybody
No,
stopping us from doing what we doing?
no, it's not. Like you can either give it, entertain it, or just keep moving forward with what we're doing. And I like moving forward.
Exactly.
Like when I first, like I said, when I first heard about BAIO, I didn't even ask no questions. I don't think you can even remember me in the chat asking a question, because and I really wanted to know. I went back and I researched and I found out information I need. So when I'm in the chat room, I really don't actually. I'm just really listening, you know.
Right.
And I'm trying to see who can I link up with. That was my whole purpose.
Right.
And then, the first meet was down at Georgia. I went down there because I had to go drop my daughter off, and I met up with Bell and some of the other brothers and sisters down there. And shoot, it's all. If we could just keep moving forward and stop thinking about, well, what are we gonna do for here, or what are we gonna do for here? Hey, just stay in your lane, as we say in the military. Stay in your lane and just do what you can do for BIO, and I guarantee you everything will go just as smooth. But when you try to go in someone else's lane and asking them questions, like, why are you worried about that when you don't even know what this is about? You know nothing about
and you're
that.
not
Let someone
interested
else
in
worry.
it.
Yeah, let someone else worry about that other stuff.
And we're not rejecting you. All we want to know, the only people that's getting rejected, because there have been some people that's trying to join the BAIO site, and when it asks, what's the profession, they don't have an answer. Well, guess what? You ain't getting in the group. I don't care, and keep in mind, I don't care if you don't have a job. You can be unemployed. It doesn't matter. What are you interested in? What profession are you interested in? Because once you get in, maybe we can get you involved with some people and they can actually help you to get into that profession.
Right.
But don't come joining up saying, well, I don't do nothing. Well, guess what? You won't be a part of the BAIO. Because everybody that comes in has to answer those questions. What do you want to do? Where do you live? What state do you live in? Well, of course, are you black? Are you African? You can lie about that, but you're going to be found out. So, I don't know how you're going to get around that. But, and what do you do? What do you do? And keep in mind, nobody's asking any ultimate sacrifice from you. All we want you to do is get together with people of like mind. We want registered nurses to get together. We got the healthcare group. We want registered nurses in there. You know what I'm saying? We have construction people that do heavy machinery. They're in there too.
Yep.
You
And
know?
it's not like that, that we're like pushing you away. You can learn, you can cross train in some of the stuff inside of the BAO, because like some of the
Exactly.
stuff I don't know about, shit, I'm gonna lean on somebody else that, hey, just give me the basics on what this is. And this is why the military itself, the American military, is so successful, because they cross train each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was a crane operator, but I was doing freaking logistics. I'm like, how does that even work? But then when I thought about it, it came together. So like the mission doesn't stop.
Right.
Just because one person went down, guess who? Hey, I just know the basics. I knew enough to get this point to do this mission right here.
Right.
So this is our mission. Hey, we moving forward.
Lucy asks, do we have a chemist yet? I'm pretty sure we do. I'm pretty sure we do. I mean, I can look into that to make sure, but based on what I've seen, I mean, we got people in all different types of professions in there, and it's great if we can get more. You know what I mean? Like I want our IT department and our STEM departments to be huge, because that way we can break it up into categories and we can put together a team. Because that's really what we want to do. We want to put together a team of professionals.
Right.
Because if you have a team of professionals that are experts in their field, I feel confident with that team representing us on the continent. I feel comfortable with that. That's my alarm. I don't know why it's going
here's the
off. I
thing
don't work
that
tonight.
the studies are out there. So to try to figure out should you come aboard the BAIO, it's not even hard. Like the study, they tell you these studies every day. In order for Black people to catch up with people with white America, it would take another 200 years. Are you going to wait around for another 200 years when you could just actually start something right now? And every day, and I love to see progress, but when I see they saying the first Black, and I'm like, wait a minute, the first Black? Wait, we in 2018, about to go into
Exactly.
2019. We still talking about the first Black person to do this? Like,
Exactly.
are y'all kidding me? When you can have your own, and you don't have to worry about being the first Black, because it'll be the brothers and sisters just like you making these moves and actually contributing to your own society. Let's think about, they take your talented people, your talented kids, and they send them up there to do all their work, and they're making them like your introduction to your what you call it. Everything that we do makes money for them. Like, why won't you make money for yourself? Why won't you create systems for yourself that's going to benefit you? Everything we do doesn't benefit us here. So going to Afghanistan, creating Afghanistan is a perfect opportunity for us to stop crying, stop worrying about am I going to fit in, or do I have to cut my brother down or cut my sister down just to get this job? Because it's a dog-eat-dog world out here. They don't care about who you cut down as long as you get the job done. You got to cut your brother out, or hey, sorry, you only got room for one person. That's why you see the first Black person. I'm tired of that. I mean, I love the progress. I love my brothers and sisters, but we have to change that. I want to be 80 years old still hearing the first Black person. That's crazy.
The first Black plumber in America. First
Right.
Black electrician. First Black architect. It's like, come on, man. Come on. But see, this is what I'm talking about. It's like, the thing I like about being around professional people is that you guys don't waste your time talking about misery. You just have no time for it. I mean, think about that. When you look at that chart that we just did, could you imagine if everybody in the BAIO was contributing to that process right there? What time would we have to be worried about weaves? What time would we have to worry about how long Aretha Franklin's funeral was?
That shit was long though.
Yeah, but we wouldn't even be. It would be like an afterthought.
Right.
Like that
Right.
wouldn't even. That'd be like a 30-second conversation before we moved on to something else. Now people are dedicated whole shows to this shit.
Wow.
Some preacher accidentally grabbed Ariana Grande's titties. That's what we're fucking concerned about. But I'm crazy. I'm the crazy one. Because this stuff has no interest to me. I'm not interested in any of this bullshit. What I'm interested in is the future of our people. And we got to get serious, because I was on that show and I was getting pissed off because a lot of dudes I think are just playing comedians and they playing games. We're in a position now where things are at a critical level for us as a people. We don't have time for games. We got to start getting serious.
Yep.
That's why if I'm going to do a show, that show better be dedicated to nationhood. We need to be dedicated to talking about the BAIO and what we stand for, and attracting people of like mind. I can get down with that. I can invest a couple of hours into that. I'm not going to get involved in these back and forths with bootlicking Negroes who don't give a shit about their people, don't give a shit about the future. All they care about is profiting off of the bullshit that's going on right now. And unfortunately, they have a load of support in doing it. That's the shit that pisses me off. Because these niggas wouldn't even exist if they didn't have an audience. And unfortunately, the audience right now loves bullshit. And the people that's in this chat room right now are the people that I want. Serious people.
Yep. Exactly.
Let these clowns talk about anything they want to. I don't care. It's not like we're in competition with anybody because nobody else is doing what we're doing.
Nope.
So like I said,
It's not even about debating them about anything. It's
yeah,
like we're trying to move forward. Like we're not trying to sit here and waste our time talking about giving them energy and what we could be doing something productive, talking about something productive. So
exactly. That's what it is, man. That's all it's about at this point.
yeah.
All right. So we knocked out a good portion. I want to probably close out because we did like about an hour and a half. That's pretty good. Oh, 2 hours. No, we started 8, right?
It's an hour and a half. We started
Oh, it's
at
10:35. So we did
7.
like
Yeah.
2.5 hours. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I think that covers everything. And I think that you guys will have some value when you go back and listen to this archive. And I just want to thank Dun Dotta for giving me the opportunity to interview you, brother.
Oh yeah, pleasure's mine, man.
Yeah, you're gonna have some. Oh, yo, sign up to his YouTube channel. We're gonna blow your channel up, son.
Yo, I didn't even know I had a
I
channel.
think
I
he
see
had
I'm on
like
like
12
14.
subscribers. Yo,
Yeah, I was like, where do these people come from?
Dun Dotta YouTube channel is on my description box. Click on that and sign up. Everybody that's in here should be signed up. And the funny thing about it, we got 44 people watching this. You know what? I love it because those are 44 people that I want in the cipher. I'd rather have
Right.
44 people and us having this conversation than 20,000 niggas talking about bullshit. Oh, Bell
Exactly.
said that somebody was going to do I missed that. I saw the comment that flashed by me, but you said somebody wanted to do a show on STEM. They wanted to use their channel as a STEM show. That's very good. That's what I'm talking about. You know, I'm not the only person that has a microphone and an internet connection. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Get in where you fit in, man. Dude, like everybody can contribute. You don't have to sit back waiting for somebody in the BAIO for you to push forward the agenda of land infrastructure. But let me get you get out of here. I know things is getting busy for you.
Oh no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Like I don't have to go back to work till Tuesday, so I'm relaxing.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Well,
So I
I'm gonna
mean,
get
if
off
you
of here
ain't
because I want to get something to
okay,
eat.
yo, it's all good.
I
Yeah.
haven't eaten anything. But yo, peace to everybody in the chat room. Thank
Old
you for
Doss
tuning in
80,
with us. Yes,
right?
Dos. Odos hit me up with the at my holipsism at Gmail. And I saw that you put your email in the chat room, so I'll probably go back and look at the chat to see what it was. But in the meantime, send something to me at holipsism at gmail.com. That way I can hook up with you. All right, y'all.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.